Dope, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Yo, bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most. I tell her, little bitch, she so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me. Niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Both teams get in their formations, and Ukai notes that one of Hinata's hands seems to be bandaged up. I wonder when that happened. Itetsu would be conflicted on whether or not to tell Ukai about Hinata's father. He decides not to so that they can focus on winning the winter tournament. Oikawa holds the ball, getting ready to serve as he looks at Hinata through the net. Let's see how you do against this one. He performs a powerful jump serve that heads right for Hinata. He simply just moves out of the way, shocking Oikawa as the ball would go out of bounds. Damn it. Hinata then looks back at him, noticing his new strength. On the next play, Hinata sets the ball to Asahi, who spikes it down past the blockers, only for Iwazumi to get the ball back up. Oikawa then jumps to set, but his body turns into a spike as he hits the ball down. The ball lands on his side though, as he looks through the net to see Hinata standing there, staring at him. Oh, I get it now. You couldn't figure out what you needed to do, so instead, you're doing what I do. You're copying me. Well, let's hope that works out for you. It will be Daichi's serve, and he bounces the ball while thinking about how he should serve. Should I just go easy, or should I try to score a point here? As he was in thought, the advice of Hinata rang through his head, causing him to throw the ball up high as he jumps and spikes the ball down with power to score a service ace. His team was shocked, causing them to run to him and celebrate the point, as Ukai from the sidelines looked at Hinata. I hate to say it, but you're right. Oikawa seems to be furious that he wasn't able to evolve his team like Hinata, wondering what makes the two so different. The first set continues on with Karasuno eventually pulling away and winning. During the break into the second set, Karasuno was joking around while having fun and talking about random things in general. Noya then asked Hinata if his parents played volleyball, and they helped him, as all of them would just turn to him wondering the answer. Yes, my mother played when she was younger. You guys might actually know her. Her name was Mika Seijiro. Ukai then gave a shocked expression while the rest of them seemed confused as they didn't know this woman. Ukai then explains that Hinata's mother was a setter for the women's national team. All of them then turned to Hinata, understanding why he was so gifted. Ukai decides to sub in Tanaka and Suga, giving Hinata a break. The second set was a little closer than they anticipated, but it seemed Karasuno would be able to win without Hinata here as well. Ukai congratulates his team, but tells them that they still have two more tough opponents to beat before they win this tournament. The next day, Karasuno will line up against Shiri Torizawa. Ushijima breaks his line after and walks up to Hinata. Come to my school and set for me. Hinata ignores this request and focuses on the match up ahead. The game starts, and immediately, Karasuno's players feel how intense this game is going to be. As Ushijima serves the ball, Noya attempts to receive it, but it goes out of bounds after bouncing off of his arms. All of them look back at their libero, wondering what happened and why he wasn't able to get the ball. This is when Hinata would walk over to him, giving him some pointers. When you try to receive it, try it like this next time. Noya's eyes would light up at getting help. Oh, okay, I'll give it a try. Ushijima serves again, but this time, Noya actually gets a dig on the ball, although it isn't perfect. Hinata runs after the ball that was floating away from the middle, and Tendo continues to watch him. Which one of you is gonna get the ball? He looks at Asahi, who is running towards the net, and jumps to block him. However, Kageyama gets the point instead. That type of blocking won't work against my sets unless you have the speed to keep up. Your first guess was actually right, and I did set to Asahi. I just had one of my other players spike it before it could get to him. Tendo would look down at Hinata, who stared back up at him, thinking that he was a monster. No wonder his captain wants him on their team. The next play, the setter on Shiri Torizawa sets the ball to his captain. Ushijima spikes it past Suki and scores the point. Throughout this set, it was clear that this was going to be a tough game. Karasuno had a great offensive team, but it seemed they needed a better defense to actually win this match. Ukai would call for a timeout because they were down 15-20. Alright, let's change this formation up a little bit. Kageyama, we're going to sub you out for Suga, and Hinata, we're moving you to the back row with Noya and Daichi. Suki, Asahi, and Suga. Try to get a one-touch on his spikes. They all agree as the match continues, and Ushijima spikes it down past the blockers once again, but this time, it's received by Hinata. Suga watches the ball float slowly, thanking his captain for the perfect pass. He then sets it to Suki, who gets blocked by Tendo. Karasuno hadn't realized it, but besides Ushijima, there were also other monsters on that team. This causes them to lose the first set, causing the morale to also go down as well. Ukai wants to say something, and he has to pause for a moment while thinking of it, and so he does. It's one set, you guys. We can turn this game around, so let's get focused. Hinata then stands up, looking at his team while holding his water bottle. They all see his expression, which causes chills to come down their spines. He didn't even speak. He only stared at them intensely. Hinata then turned his head to Suga. Set me the ball. He nods and the second set begins. Tendo spikes the ball down after receiving a set, only for Noya to dig it up. Suga then sets the ball high in the middle as Tendo looks around watching each player. Who is that for? Oh, I know. He then looks at Hinata, who is running towards the ball, and so he jumps, as well as Tendo. Hinata then spikes the ball down with his left hand instead of his right, shocking Tendo as the ball would go right by his right side. Hinata then scores the first point of the second set with ease, as he looks back up at Tendo and says, "It doesn't matter what you do now. I can see all your movements." The next play, Ushijima scores for his team and points at Hinata, which would also cause him to smile. I think, for the first time in a long time, I want to win more than I want to breathe. This is when Hinata would enter the zone. Karasuno receives the next serve, and Suga gives it to Daichi, who is blocked. Before it hits the ground, Noya is able to recover it. Suga goes to set the ball again, but before he could get his hands on it, Hinata spiked it down to score another point. This back and forth between Ushijima and Hinata kept going on until the set was tied, as each team had 24 points. Ushijima stepped up to serve, bouncing the ball, as he decides to take them more seriously now, and sends down a crazy jump serve that they were not able to get. This brought his team to match point, meaning Karasuno had to get this next receive. Hinata manages to recover it, and Suga thinks to himself, I need to set to someone. Well, I can't set to Hinata because they'll be waiting for him. There. He gives the ball to Daichi, who's then blocked by Tendo. As the ball hits the ground, Hinata falls to his knees. Karasuno lost against Shiri Torizawa. After the match, Ushijima comes up to Hinata, who is talking to his father, trying to find a way to keep playing. As he would say, "Come to my school and become my setter, Hinata." Hinata's father would think about this and would actually allow Hinata to play only if he switched to this school and continued to win. Weeks later, Karasuno would wonder where their captain is. He hasn't come to practice in a long time. And now that Kageyama thinks about it, he hasn't been in his class either. Itetsu would then tell them about Hinata's father and what he said. And then he tells them that he discovered that Hinata had transferred after being in the teacher's office and talking to some of the teachers. We go to Shiri Torizawa's gym, where we see Hinata walk in with his bag. Ushijima is the first to walk up to him as the two stare at one another. Welcome to Shiri Torizawa, Hinata Seijiro.